Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. It's like I say that in my sleep, I say it so much. So, how y'all guys doing tonight? Thank you for all being over there in the chat. The chat's already been lively, and I appreciate that so very much. We already got Ken McCroy's out there. Who else? Some of the guys on the Sterling Davis is out there. Philip Daniel. Dixon Hoffman, which I think he's supposed to be in here. Yep, he just made it in here. Sterling Davis, I said. Jimbo, which is James Parker, he's out there. So all y'all are out there in the chat. We appreciate it so very much. And Shelly Cole, she's out there. John Schaffner's in the chat. Yeah, he's got a grandkids duty tonight, so he said he didn't know if he would be on the panel or not. So, but he's out there in the chat. Thank you. John Schaffner says, nice hat. Thank you. Yep, this is my hat. I purchased this about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. I don't remember the exact time, but we had went, my wife and I, and actually her whole family went to Puerto Rico. Her father passed away, and they wanted to scatter the ashes back in Puerto Rico in the area where he was born, and him and his brother used to fish. So we were down in Puerto Rico, and I walked in this little shop, and I seen this, and I'm like, all right, that's mine. I'm taking it. So I decided, I asked my wife, I said, what do you think? You think I should wear it? And she said, hell yeah, it looks good. So I'm like, all right, so I'm wearing the hat. So Brian Bradburn's out there. And before we get started, just a reminder that this scroll saw challenge, I have extended it until the 16th of November. And we should be having the, let me look at my calendar. Yeah, if we don't have, which I'm not sure if we're going to have a show on the 24th, which is around Thanksgiving, that's kind of up in the air. So just to let everybody know, the 24th, we may or may not have a show. It just depends. If we don't have the show on the 24th, let me think about this real quick. If we have the show on the 24th, it will be the winner's announcement for the Scroll Saw Challenge on the 24th, and also a Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving show for the 24th. If we don't have a show on the 24th, I'm looking over here at the calendar. If we don't have a show on the 24th, then the 1st of December, which is the first Saturday in December, will be the Scroll Saw winners announcements. So keep that in mind. I mean, if we get enough people on the panel, and let me see how things are going with my family as far as what we're doing that weekend for Thanksgiving, because everybody knows, I believe the 22nd is actually Thanksgiving Day, which is Thursday. So I'm just going to leave the 24th up in the air. So I hope it don't upset anybody, and then if we don't have the 24th, then the first will be the Scroll Saw winners for the scrolls. And good thing that I extended it, because I've picked up, we're now running around 20 entries. I'm working on the video right now. I worked on it some this afternoon. The entry video, or the second pick video for all the people that submitted pictures for the Scroll Saw Challenge. So that's the only really announcement I have. Other than, if y'all been watching me last week, I had cut out the letters for the sign. Here, I'll just bring it over here. For the sign, Gobble to You Wobble, and I posted pictures. So this is it finished. I think it turned out pretty good. My wife loves it. This is nothing more than twine that I'm using for a hanger. But yeah, Gobble to You Wobble. And then over on Twitch, we made this sign over there on Twitch. Thankful. So I think that turned out pretty good. I haven't made it. We had some, here, let me put this back up. But I think this looked pretty good when we did this over on Twitch. We had some water damage, just, little areas that turned a little brown in the ceiling in the living room from after the hurricane last year. Nothing that I needed to take the whole, drop the whole ceiling in the living room. There were spots probably 2 or 3 inches in diameter, a few of them. So anyway, and I had that popcorn ceiling in my living room. And I've been every room in my house that we've redone, I have stripped that stuff off. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I decided, you know what, before Thanksgiving, I stripped all that popcorn off the ceiling. I've already killed and I'm patching the ceiling up and getting it ready. And my son's going to both of my sons are going to help me next weekend. And we're going to texture. I just shoot a flat texture up there. We're going to shoot a texture on it and have it painted. I'm going to repaint my living room and dining room before Thanksgiving. I'm going to get all that done before Thanksgiving. So I have got my work cut out for me. This week we got it all off. I've been doing some stuff on it and everything else. So that looks really good. So that when I say I worked on the video, you would think I would already had it done. Nope. I got some people that just came in at the last minute, and I'm kind of glad because I like to get them all on there as many as I can on there. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, so let me talk about my sponsors real quick. Devobal Technologies for web design, development, hosting. Visit devobal.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Klingspor, the sanding specialist, woodworkingshop.com. And Seiko, the scroll saw specialist, seiko.com. So one thing that's going to be kind of really unique is the fact that somebody from Klingspor, I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, but it's not my friend that works there. But anyway, it's coming down to our woodworking club meeting the first Thursday in December. And he's going to talk about the Klingspor abrasives and also the woodworking shop, but mostly about abrasives and how they differ from everybody else's abrasives and what they do in their how they make them and stuff. So I think that's pretty exciting. They're coming to our woodworking club here in Lakeland. So pretty good. All right. The guest for tonight is Mr. Matt Haas, and we'll let him introduce himself at the end. So let's get down to everybody that's on the panel and let them introduce themselves. And we'll start off with Brenda.
Thanks, Russ. I'm Brenda G. of Brenda G's Designs. You'll find me on everything as Brenda G. Brenda G's Designs. I'm on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Etsy, and probably a whole bunch of other places that I forgot that I'm supposed to be. So if you need to find me, just look for me as Brenda G's Designs.
Great. Thank you for being here. Chris Ahern.
Hey guys, Chris here from the Old Cranky Workshop, from the home of the World Series Boston Red Sox. Anyways, you find me on Facebook and YouTube, and with any luck, we'll have a web page up and running real soon. Got to finish the opening video, and I think we're going to go live next week or two. So
Ooh.
That's all we got going now.
Yep. And then Dixon.
Hey, Russ. Looks like we're going to have another good show tonight. I'm Dixon Hoffman from Hoffman Signs and Decals. You'll find me once in a while spying around on Facebook.
Great. I don't know how good of a show it's going to be because we got that wild character, but it's sure going to be entertaining. That's for sure. Hey, Jim.
Jim Bashir's from Driveway Workshop. I'm on all the Instagram and Twitter and stuff as Jim Bashir's, and I think I still have a picture up of the post office on the FBI section on the wall. That's probably got Jim Bashir's on it too, so you can find me anywhere.
I'm glad because usually there's a reward for that, so I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, I trust
the FBI will be looking.
Yeah. Yeah, never mind. We won't go there. Anyway, Al Forte.
Hey folks, Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking Maker Shop on YouTube and on Facebook, and also Kilroy79763 on Twitch. And I guess I'm the second Starfleet officer that's here, as he likes to put it. But anyway, Matt Haas in the house tonight. Could be a great show. Thank you for being here and for having me.
You're welcome. Paul, dang.
What was that?
It was, because we had such a very rainy season here in Florida, we've got an abundance of acorns. And these suckers this year are huge because of that. One of them hit me in the head the other day, and I thought it was those, you know, that commercial, the insurance commercial where all those little chipmunks are standing there where they, pine cone's going to throw them at the guy's car. Yeah, I thought the damn squirrels were standing up there throwing up at me because I got hit in the head once, and there was like, and they're hitting my roof on my shop. That's the sound. It's like, bam.
So that's why you started wearing the hat?
Yeah, protect myself.
Coconuts, Russ. There's a difference between coconuts and acorns.
These things are. I'm talking about the one that hit me on the top of the head was as big as the end of my little finger. I'm talking about the biggest one I've ever seen.
We have acorns like this in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
He sounds like Chicken Little. The sky's falling. A piece just fell on my head.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Paul.
Hey, I'm Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop. It's Paul's Messy Workshop on YouTube and on Instagram. And hopefully Matt's got a lot of words of wisdom for us tonight, because he's got to live up to the hype that he's been getting this week.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Russ.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Russ Meadows.
Hi, Russ Meadows from Rusty Nails Wood Shop. Y'all can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and somewhere next week or so floating down the Gulf of Mexico looking for Chris Ahern.
Yeah, I wished.
We'll be working on Rusty's bar tab.
Yeah.
You guys going on that new Titanic voyage? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I would love to have been able to join y'all, and fortunately,
I wish you
Next
could.
time.
things didn't work out. For some of you that don't know, my mother-in-law lives with us, and she's been living with us now for 2 or 3 years, something like that. But anyway, she has Alzheimer's, so it's very hard for us. Actually, Chris and Russ had thought about this. It's been about a year in the making, right?
Yeah, pretty close.
About that.
Yeah. And I told them, it was up in the air where we could go or not, but it's hard for us to find somebody to watch her, especially y'all going to be gone for what, 4 or 5 days?
8 days.
8 days. Yeah. See, if it was probably 2 or 3, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, but 8 days. Yeah. That's just hard for us to do. So anyway,
We'll give you another year's notice. And by God, you work on it for another year.
Yep.
Yep.
So anyway,
Postcard.
let's get to the man of the hour, and that is Matt Haas from Awesome Wood Things. How you doing tonight, Matt? I bet you thought we'd never get to you.
It's all good. I'm awesome. Thrilled to be here. Love being on the interwebs.
Cool. I'm glad you're here tonight. And well, I get, we've got old Shelly Coles out there. Robert Crow is in the chat. Sterling Davis is out there in the chat. We've got Michelle Marcoux. All of them guys are out there in the chat.
I think
guys,
something happened to Sterling. Can we get him back? Something
happened to him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He messaged me and said, yeah, there's an issue. Maybe we'll figure that out.
Okay. So if y'all have any questions for Matt, my distinguished panel, and I will be watching the chat. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them over there. So since it's my show, I get to ask the first question. So I'm going to ask, where in the world, this is what I want to know first, is where in the world did you come up with the name Awesome Wood Things?
Oh, well, I'm a big believer of having the slogan of a business be the business name. So instead of, business name and then this is what we do, I like what we do to be the actual name. So I wanted people to look at the name and not have any confusion about what it is they're about to experience. So Awesome Wood Things. You look at this, like you look at the logo. Well, there's the logo. Look at the logo. And it's on a piece of wood. Like there's no ambiguity. You know exactly what you're going to get. So I just like that. And I like the word things because it didn't pigeonhole me into one type. It's not furniture. It's not small crafts, although I love both. I just wanted to be able to make as much things as possible. So Awesome Wood Things it was.
Cool. That's actually, it's kind of never, you know, since you've described your name the way you did, it's kind of like, think about it, Simply Wooden Creations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We're
Simply
kindred
Wood,
spirits, you and I.
Simply Creations. You know,
Paul's Messy Workshop.
yep, Paul's Messy Work. The Creations doesn't back me into a corner. I create all kind of things. So pretty cool.
See, I think Paul's got it dialed in because he has his name in the channel. When you don't have your name in the channel, you've got to put your name everywhere because people won't remember who you are. So in the about page and the description, everywhere I can put my name, I put it. But you know, that's just the way it is. But yeah, Awesome Wood Things. That's where it came from. I wanted no ambiguity. And I like the word awesome. I mean, who doesn't? Awesome is awesome. Come on.
Shelly Cole from Know What Mom Knows wants to know, can we be expecting any more lip sync videos from you anytime soon?
Yes, there's a playlist on the Awesome Wood Things YouTube channel called Self-Proclaimed Epic Videos. And I publish about the frequency. Now, I know I would love to do it quicker, about once every year and a half. So I have my Prince video, which I love, which I lip sync and dance to the Prince song Kiss, and is just off the charts crazy. And I have the Double Entendre shop tour because I don't know how to do shop tours. I sing and dance and lip sync when I did my shop tour because that's what I did. But yeah, so wait about a year and I'll probably have another lip sync epic video, and then there'll be 3 in the playlist. Now there's only 2.
Cool. Anybody on the panel?
Yeah, Matt, Jeff Robinson out in the chat there asked, tell us about your new toy.
Oh, I bought a DeWalt scroll saw, the 788, and I do own a scroll saw besides that one. I had a rigid, and it's fine, but the little blower tube never worked, and I would use it, and then all the sawdust would go over my pattern, and I couldn't see the lines of my pattern, so I would rig up things to blow it away, and then my hands would get. So I'm like, I need a better tool, and 2, one that has a little blower that works. So I went ahead and I bought one, and I've used it a couple times, and wow, what a step up. I know they're not the top of the top, but for me, that was a big jump. I'm really loving it.
Yeah, I want to tell you the DeWalt is an excellent saw for the amount of money you pay for it. Yeah, it may not be the top of the line, but
it should certainly. It's like, that's what I want. When I buy a tool, I want to use it for several years.
Yeah, it'll last you. It'll last you. Anybody on the panel with a question?
I'd like to know how he got that name, that it wasn't used up already. It's a very common, awesome.
I guess I just got lucky. You know, luckily it's 3 words, so the chances someone would use those 3 words in that sequence were in my favor, and it is there. Although it wouldn't let me have Awesome Wood Things. It made me, if you look close, there's a 1. They made me put a 1 prefix on it. So if the short code is youtube.com/awesomewoodthings1, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll have an Awesome Wood Things 2 channel one day, and then it'll jive, you know. But yeah, no, I was happy to get it.
Cool.
I got one of the questions is the one that's most important to me is Kirk or Picard. That's my favorite.
Original series over Next Generation, but Picard over Kirk.
Wrong.
That's the right answer. Right. Have you not watched Big Bang Theory? That's Sheldon approved answer right there.
Picard is coming back. Picard.
Back. Original series all the way.
Things that inspire me, and I mean that was the whole thrust of the channel. Is I wanted to make things out of wood you don't typically see out of wood. Although I do make some common things, I like to give it a little bit of my other passions into my woodworking, and I've got a lot. Believe me, getting inside this brain is a scary thing, and so buckle up because it's gonna get a little crazy.
Now you said that you had the Awesome Wood Things 1 by after it, but yet don't you have another channel that's named?
Wow, yes, it's Awesome Fun Things. And awesome fun things is all things that aren't woodworking related, usually activities I do outside the home. So I don't want to say it's a vlog because it's not like a proper, you know, film yourself vlog, although it kind of is. It's just other things I want to document and share about things I do that aren't woodworking related. So I fired up the Awesome Fun Things channel. Now, it's a minor channel, almost somewhere north of 100 subs. It's just kind of there for fun. And I do update it several times a year. And that's sort of the pace.
Cool.
All right, I got something. I've always wanted this. You said you've got many passions, and then obviously inside your brain must be a pretty scary place. But what is it you do? Your real world,
Wow.
you know, punch the clock, 95.
Gotcha.
And is all this stuff collected together? That's one big career?
Well, right now, I'm a business analyst for an education publisher. So think textbooks and online learning materials. Pearson is the name.
Gotcha.
So that's what I do 9 to 5. Now, throughout that career, I started as an illustrator for textbooks. So we did mostly college science, engineering, and math level books. So think all the charts and the diagrams, a lot of physics stuff. So people hitting baseballs and the parabolic arc, you know, things like that with the, you know, the weight, the gravity and the momentum. And anyway, I did all that drawing, and I quickly moved up into the ranks of manager. And then I found myself dealing with all these boring manager tasks. I'm a creative person. I went to design school. I have a degree in commercial art and visual communications, and you know, and they taught me Adobe Illustrator while I was there. Illustrator 88. They had one version where they named it after the year 1988. They never named it after. That's a horrible thing to do as a software company, is name the version after the year, because it gets old right away. Anyway, so I was doing that, and it got boring because I wanted to be creative. So I automated everything that I could. So I tracked absences and accounts payable, accounts receivable. I databased it all, and I taught myself web development because I wanted it to do it for me so I could spend more time being creative. So I learned web development along the way. Pearson acquired the company, and we did a lot of the assets. We tracked millions of art assets so we could reuse them and search them. So I became a metadata, database, taxonomy expert. So I have a rich history of desktop publishing for print and media, and cataloging and databasing all of the stuff. So that's where the web development came. And then throughout Pearson, I had many roles in the media and technology, and that now I'm a business analyst in the school division, the K-12 part of it. So that's what I do full time. And
cool.
Well, how did the woodworking part come in?
Well, the woodworking
did you
part
always have that, or?
Well, the woodworking part came in because I'm on the computer my entire life. And then I create some awesome things online. I mean, I built some banging stuff. But when you turn the computer off, or you go to another web page, it's gone. So I'm like, wait a minute, I make something in the shop and I turn my computer off and I still have the thing I made in my shop. It's still there. And I know that sounds quirky and dumb, but that's one small thing was like, oh, it's a physical object. I'm like, I just resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had some tools. I bought a house. I had to tinker, fix the house up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, I can put joints together with butt joints. So I was screwing, you know, boards in just butt joints. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. Went to YouTube and I was like, oh, I get it now. And then I started tinkering with YouTube videos. And then somehow I found myself in the I Like to Make Stuff group. I don't know how I got in there. And then, you know, Lutz came along and Berkey came along, and the whole thing went downhill from there. No, I'm just kidding. So it's
blame it on Berkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
Dave Hart came up with a really good question. How did you come up with the idea for the rock album?
Oh, I didn't. It was not my idea. It was Ryan Bitters and Eloy Escojedo. They jammed on it, and they wanted to do a poster design contest, but posters was a little hard. So then they switched it, and then they looped in a couple more people, and I was one in the initial crowd. Steve Carmichael was all on the ground floor of that too, and Shogun Jimmy and Alan Robinson. Anyway, it was us 6 got together, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm pretty good at event planning. Let me kind of organize all of the stuff in an easy to digest thing, and so I rolled a website and got a online form going, and after the first year, they're like, well, it's time for another one. So I just turned it on again, and then I kind of like became the face of it, even though I'm not the sole face of it, nor did I come up with it. I've been kind of shepherding it as we go. 4th year now we're doing it, and that's where you create a vinyl album cover, 12-inch by 12-inch, for artwork to hang on the wall, and we all release them to YouTube on the same day, and you run a contest. But instead of winning a prize, you give away what you create. We sort of flip the script of what you normally do with a contest. So instead of trying to win something, you participate, but you give away what you create. It's just a neat little thing. And then we do some self-promotion along the way, and we're all invited to a private Facebook group for participants and former participants of Makers Rock. And then we share our builds along the way, because you got to keep it secret until publish day, and some people do promotions. A few people hook up and give away more stuff sometimes. So it's a fun little group we do. That's what Makers Rock is. Makersrock.com. It's open now. The publish date is mid-March 2019, so you got time in 4 months or whatever. Yeah, and it's open any decade, even though the 80s are the best decade ever. Any decade, any album, preferably rock and roll, but even that's a little loose. It's a fun thing to do, and it's large. We had 27 participants publish videos last year. That was year number 3. This is year number 4 coming up, and we already have, I don't know, 18, 19 signed up. So we're going to roll over that 27 here soon. It's open to everyone.
So Matt, was the 80s the best decade ever, and why?
It was the best decade ever because of just the state of everything. I mean, there wasn't much conflict in that decade. People had jobs. They had disposable income. It was lot less turmoil, and people were just focused on having fun. And you could do stuff back then that you can't do now. Like you can stay out later. I don't know. And I was a kid, I was, a teenager that time. So I think any decade where you're the teenager is the decade for you. But I don't know. I just have something in my heart for the 80s. I love the 80s.
I've got backed up a little bit, but because I didn't want to miss this, but Paul Granger wanted to know, how did your local baseball team do this year?
Oh, they were 3rd in the running to make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. I follow a AA baseball team in my town, the Harrisburg Senators. The Washington Nationals, they're the MLB team, so when they graduate, they go up to that level. And I run the fan club. I'm one of the officers of the Harrisburg Senators fan club, separate organization. And I got involved with that because, well, I came to a realization about myself where I don't usually complain about stuff. Like, I'm not a complainer. I do complain, but when I complain to the person or group that can actually do something about it. And it was all run off of paper and spreadsheets. Nothing was automated. Nothing was online. Their email, that they would send 20 emails in a chunk, so that blind copy. Like, there was no even bulk email service that they were using. So I complained. I was like, I'm not finding information. How you do this? And I'm like, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that. I'm like, look, do you need my help? I love this team, and I hate that the fan club is so inept. I'm like, they're like, yeah, we have elections for officers and someone's stepping down in October. You want to run? I'm like, yeah, put me on the ballot. So they did. And I've been running. This is year 3. I was just elected for my 3rd term, which is 1 year. And so, yeah, I'm running that fan club. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Now you were talking
Matt Haas for president.
You were talking about having made some stuff, and I know you made some stuff. And I'd mentioned to you, have you got pictures for you?
Oh yeah, I do.
Share the screen and show us.
Yeah, this is my what I do in my shop. I got quite a lot. I'll rifle through them. You slow me down or speed me up.
Hey, we got all the time in the world.
Let's see. Share. Let's see. I'll share that screen. And it says I am sharing. Okay.
Yep.
Am I targeted?
We can see it.
All right. So let's see here. Oh, it figures it opens in preview. All right. I guess we'll just kind of do this all random like here. So this is that's actually on my wall. If I move my big TV, I made a wall hanging of Floston Paradise. This is the best sci-fi movie ever, is The Fifth Element. This is the vacation spot there. So I made that. I can move the TV and show you. Here is the desk that I'm sitting on now.
Yep, that's your desk. I remember
sitting on the desk, Matt.
Well, I'm now sitting at it, more accurately. It's a torsion box. It took me months to build, and I love it. You know, the white countertop laminate, 2 inches thick, with the round over end grain round over walnut, solid walnut. It's freaking gorgeous. Oh, I drew Freddie in my Learn Adobe Now class.
Yeah, I remember when you were working on that. I was watching that.
Oh, this is something I did early in case of zombies or yard work, and I have all my like cutting implements for that. That was after I got my X-Carve, which I have a love-hate relationship with.
In case of zombies.
Yeah, I used my X-Carve.
Or yard work.
Oh, my play button with the offset angled back, so you see how the shadow gets thicker as you get closer to the point, and it's narrower up here. That's on purpose because the logo used to exist like that. Now they made it all flat. But anyway, I wanted a 3D representation of that, so I built that. Oh, this was from Awesome Fun Things. I did a little movie about the watch that I bought. This is a $35 watch. It's all no batteries. And it's got the date movement. It's amazing. From Seiko. They're a Japanese company.
Yeah, when you say no batteries, it does it by when you like movement, you shake.
Yeah, it's the kinetic.
Yeah.
This was Russ's whirligig project.
It's it's a Mario.
Mario.
He swings the hammer up and down for that. Oh, this was an old one. I made some. This was for a Cub Scout award. They're fake arrowheads, and there was like the arrowhead, or I don't know what.
They look good.
Oh, this is fun. So this is a beer caddy that I use. Look at the diamond block that the diamond stuff.
Yeah. And
then this actually says a swear word underneath it. It says it's on, but I taped it off. It says mother effers. and then when you drop it, there's a magnet at the bottom, or the magnet behind this plate. So if the cap falls and goes ka-chunk and then sticks to the side. Like I said, it's a badass beer caddy. That's what I was going for.
Cool.
Beer, wine, and spirits is good with me. This is one of my first videos. I made these little 3 foot high or 2.5 foot high, thick lawn ornaments that are these candy canes. Because some candy canes you get in the store, they're like a thin little wire. Like you can't see them from 2 houses away. So I wanted something thick that you could see. And
They don't
I put
fill
some
you up
lot
very
of people.
fast either.
This was a CNC project that took forever. I made that from my son's friend.
Nice.
That's about half of them. So this is the pace I'm going, Russ. You slow me down.
That's all right.
So this was a scroll saw project and a CNC project. So I scroll sawed everything here, but I CNC'd the PAC 77 and then the 2016. But everything else was scroll saw. That's solid wood too. And they're like, "Can you do this the next year?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that anymore. That was a lot of work."
Yeah.
Burned up.
Now, how thick is that?
It's 3/4 of an inch thick. I planed it too, so it's not even like,
yeah, and it looks
32,
like
30 seconds. Like it's 3/4.
It looks like oak.
I think it's
that's a little rough cutting that 3/4 inch oak.
I did 6 of them. You only see 3 of them here. And then the one kid dropped out. I'm like, "Oh, you mean I made it the 6? I could have only made 5."
Of course, it's one of the ones that is not listed, right?
Yeah, probably. Austin is the family friend. He's the one that I know. He's appeared in some of my videos. He appeared in this video. Uh-oh. Come back to me. This was a CNC dinosaur that I put together. And he likes bowling too. So he's on a bowling lane. I don't know if you can see. And that's a bowling ball. It's quirky. Things that aren't typically made out of wood. That's my jam. So a bowling alley and a dinosaur. I mean, come on. I thought it was cool.
I heard a T-Rex doesn't get a very big score because they can't.
I know, right?
Little hands.
So it never gets in the pocket, right?
Yeah, this was.
It doesn't have the right English. They just throw a straight ball.
Yeah, I put Pat Lapp in epoxy because why not? I love that dude. If you don't know the joy of Pat Lapp, you got to check him out. He is.
I know that's French, but pronounce what that says.
It's Le Pic Bois.
Le Pic what?
Le Pic Bois.
Blah.
Bois.
Le Piquois.
Le Pic Bois.
That's
how you say it. And it means the woodpecker. That's his channel.
I always thought it meant the pick boss.
No, it means the woodpecker. Le Pic Bois. It's French.
Okay.
He's French. So he has English as a second language, but he's primarily French. This was vinyl art that's on 3 panes of glass, and those are layered. So, the javelin is on the top layer, and then it's the guy in the suit of armor, and then the ostrich is in the back. This is a video game called Joust, which I love. The best coin-op video game in the planet is Joust.
That's definitely an 80s game.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
an 80s game.
I have it right next to me, too, and I play it all the time. And yes, I did. Let me come off sharing here for a second. I did kill both a Shadow Lord and a pterodactyl while the lava troll was holding me when I was playing Joust.
Ooh.
I mean, come
We're
on.
not worthy. We're not worthy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Do you have a vinyl cutter at home?
Oh, we do. Yes. Yes. My wife and I bought one. I've been
What'd you get,
Matt? It's the Cricut.
Yeah, we have a
It's
Cricut.
the Cricut Air 2. Right? We got it a week before the Cricut Air 3 came out, but man, that is the best thing ever. My wife's amazing. She's a creative person like me. She also went to design school, and she does scrapbooking. So I've got the wood shop. You go into her scrapbook room, there is a store in her room. Every piece of paraphernalia, and I'm like, how much can like a 12 by 12 piece of paper cost? They're 25 cents. I'm like, tens of thousands of dollars. She goes to convention.
Scrapbooking is the only worse rabbit hole than a lathe.
Oh man, it's nuts.
Well, Matt, since you brought her up, what's her pet name for you?
I'd rather not say.
Give us some clues, Matt.
He's turning red.
Big Daddy. Let's go with that.
I think we need to do some digging.
Top of the screen.
We need to do
Does
some digging.
one of the words she told you start with an A?
Was that Brenda or was that Debbie that asked that?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why she's single, folks.
Yeah, and that's why she's still single. There's my Prince video. I talked about that.
Yeah, there's the Prince.
I
remember watching that video when you made that.
This you can swap out the construction paper and change it for the kids' room. I did this for my wife's coworker who had a baby, and giraffes was the motif of the thing. Oh, this thing has gotten a lot of hits. Let me come back here. Come back to me now. Oh, the shadow boxes. Like this is one of those general topics that a lot of people want to know how to do, and I just kind of struck the right tone with, I don't know, it's been a very popular video for me. But these are shadow boxes. But the thing is, it's not a 3D object. It's just a 2D printed game ticket, which happens to have myself on the game ticket. Like that's me right there in the flag jersey, and my other friend, and this is the beer man. Anyway, I thought it was funny that they put the three of us, a man selling beer, a man holding a beer, and I had a beer, and it was on Cinco de Mayo was the date of that particular ticket. I thought it was funny. Yeah. So got 4 more to go here. Oh my. So this is the other thing. I'll make common objects. So this is one of those industrial tape dispensers. These things are like $150 if you buy them. I'm like, I got a wood shop. I can slap this together. So I made my own tape dispenser. But see, it's not good enough. It's just I got to put Doctor Who artwork on it. Then that makes it awesome. So that's how.
How did you put those alien?
Oh, this was toner heat transfer. So I printed out on toner printer, laser printer, and then I used the branding iron or the iron tool. I have a wood burning tool with a flat like quarter like round thing on it, and that's how I did it. I made a light switch cover, which is in this office, which is awesome.
Cute.
2 more. This was my son went to a rap concert, and the rapper, the headliner, loves the Ninja Turtles, so I made this for my son to give to the rapper. He got backstage and gave it to him and got his photo, and it was my son loved it. Oh, and this is my rainbow unicorn, because I mean, why not? I had a family friend who has a daughter, and she was pretty young and she likes unicorns, so I made her a unicorn with rainbow, a rainbow mane. So that's the type of thing I make in the awesome wood thing. You can kind of see, smaller crafts are kind of what although I'll do a big project every now and then, but and then things that you don't typically find out of wood. That's my jam. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, I've tried to my own self try to branch out from that's when I first started. All I did was scrolling. So then I tried to get into some CNC stuff, some turning stuff, just to multifaceted, Yep. So you're not pinned down to one thing.
That's right.
Matt, I have a question.
Bring it on.
When you jumped out of the plane, did you flap your arms so hard you actually gained altitude?
Doesn't work like that. Yeah, I did go skydiving with my son, which was amazing. 10,000 feet. Yeah, you cover half the distance in 45 seconds. So in 45 seconds, you're 5,000 feet lower than where you started. And people say, oh, it felt like I was flying. I'm like, no, it feels like you're dropping at a heck of a rate. But it was cool. I went first. I demanded to go first because if anything's wrong, I don't want to see my son. Anyway, so I went first, and then I have to do tandem. So the guy says, there's your boy over there. And I looked up, and I could see him coming down, and then the chute opened, and I saw a chute. Now, he was, he wasn't right on top of me, but I could see his chute open in the plane. I'm like, yes, it was so cool. I was 5,000 feet in the air. I just fell 5,000 feet. And I since he was, 45 seconds behind me, Anyway, it was crazy. It was skydiving. I definitely recommend everyone do it at least once.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
So you like taking gambles, Matt? Is that it?
Well, the Haases are gamblers.
Do you always double on 11?
Only if you like money. Always double on 11. You're playing blackjack and you get an 11. You double your bet. It doesn't even matter what the dealer has. The dealer could have a 10 card. The dealer could have an ace showing. You double that 11 every time.
You what background does Haas come from?
It's German.
German.
It means hare. It translates to hare. So rabbits. So that's why I have rabbits everywhere.
Hassenpfeffer.
Hassenpfeffer.
Yeah, I got a little, I don't know. Yeah, Hassenpfeffer. So, and that's how you say it. Like the Hassenpfeffer. The prefix of that is my name.
I know you're married, but your wife must not be as outgoing as you, because we don't tend to see her on your Facebook posts and other places as much as we see you. So
I've been happily married for 21 years now. We got married. We had a destination wedding in Las Vegas. Speaking of gambling, had a blast. Yeah, no. I mean, she's around now. She works an opposite shift. She's a respiratory therapist at the hospital, and she loves working night shift because the women on first shift are nasty. And so it just worked out great. It was perfect for when the boy was little. I could put him on the bus. She could take him on, vice versa. And then once he grew out of that, we're like, why change it? And so it works for us. So she's usually on opposite schedules. But no, she's there.
Well, I mean, when I say that, it's kind of like my wife. My wife really doesn't like social media that much.
Well, I run in different circles than her. I mean, other than scrapbooking, which is kind of an overlap, she's,
Yeah, I have to kind of like force her into, like, if I take a picture of her, post it or whatever. Although I will say that I'm very outgoing, and since we have been together, I've got her somewhat out of her shell, so that helped a little bit.
Well, I'm a people person. She's not. I mean, she likes people, but I'm the type of person I'll go up to anyone and just start talking.
Yeah.
She's a little more reserved, not in a bad way. So,
right.
And then I let her passions be her passions. She lets my passions be my passions. It's like we don't always have to do the exact same thing. That's actually the secret to why we've been around for 21 years. You gotta have your separate interests. And I'm coming from, I was an elected official. I governed a school district for 6 years. I ran twice for a 4-year term and a 2-year term. Zero pay for that position, by the way, even though it's a $37 million institution. Tried doing 6 budgets and, 2 teacher contracts. Anyway, but she was like, I don't want anything to do with it. So early on, she was like, you do your thing, you leave me out of it. And then I think that just sort of stuck when I stopped doing that and did other things and, stuff like that.
Okay, what's up with the tacos?
Tacos, yeah. All right. So so with the baseball club, I wanted to get more people because it was kind of the same old people. I'm like, I want to bring new people. I mean, we're a fan club of a AA baseball team. We need to market ourselves better. So I went to meetup.com. It's a social media space where you meet in person rather than online. I know it's a scary thing. Is this
for swingers, Matt?
You know what? There's a lot of people there looking to hook up. Not everyone, but I've found out pretty quickly that
you met baseball swingers. Matt,
anyway, why I'm doing the taco thing is because I wanted to go put the baseball on this meetup.com. And while I was there, I had to sign up for a higher tier because reasons. And then I'm like, well, do I get to have a second community? Like I couldn't find anything on the FAQ if you only could get one or if you could have more than one. So I'm like, I'm just going to make up something off the top of my head and then delete it. Like as I go through the creation process, I'm either going to hit a paywall or it's going to go live. And I was doing it and I was like, what do I go? I'm going to delete it in 45 seconds. We freaking love tacos. That's what I called it. And I hit publish, no paywall. I'm like, oh, there's my answer. Now I can roll another community. I'm like, let me delete this, and then I'll think of a second community I can do. And when I went to delete it, people were signing up for it. They're like, bing, 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 bing. I'm like, oh, people must do this.
Make some tacos.
I had 20 members, 30 members, 40 members. Now we're up to 460 members.
Holy crap.
And these, now, that doesn't seem like a large number, but if you think about it, these are people that are geographically close to me that could drive to my location and eat tacos with me once a month and with other strangers. That's what it is. Wow. And I've been doing it. I'm like, why not? I love to talk to people. I love to introduce myself to people. So I host mostly monthly meetings somewhere in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, and we go eat tacos, and we talk about tacos, and we talk about whatever else we want to talk about. It's amazing. I love it.
Have you considered branching off into enchiladas or anything like that, or just going to stick?
It turns out I can have 3 communities with my pricing tier. Okay. So the wheels are turning for a third community. I have the baseball community on meetup.com. I have We Frickin' Love Tacos on. Actually, it's F***KIN'. So you put in the words there that you want. So anyway, I love, and then who doesn't love tacos? I mean, it's such a common thing that people have just exploded with it. So I'm like, I'm running with it. Who doesn't want to eat tacos with strangers once a month? I mean, come on. It's fun. fun.
Oh yeah, we make tacos. We have I mean, we don't eat them every week, but we try to, spread things out. But yeah, I love a good taco.
I also do a all things YouTube show. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that kind of
just fixing to go through. I was looking down at
something. Oh, hey, that's cool. So all things YouTube, that came about because of my technology background. For fun, I know this is going to sound crazy, but for funsies, I follow the world tech news. So the world technology news. So think Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, Netflix, what these companies are doing, the initiatives they're starting, the complaints they're getting. Fascinating. It's fascinating to me. And so I've always followed that. I was on the W3C for a while. That's the World Wide Web Consortium. Do you know how smart people are that join that? I mean, these are the smartest people you will ever know. Because like you go to a web page and you type it in and stuff happens on the page. There's people that figure out how all that stuff works. Like behind the scenes at the code level. And that's what that was. And so I kind of knew about Google. And I was on site at a Google office. We were doing they were like, we need some sort of central place on the globe we can all get together and have a meeting. And I'm thinking, well, there is really no central place in the globe, but someone said, okay, the West Coast would probably be most ideal. I don't know how that came up. And then the guy at Google says, well, I can get a conference room at the Google office. We want to do it here. I was like, I came off of hold. I'm like, how do I unmute myself? I'm like, yes, I agree with Google. Let's go to Google. And they're like, okay, let's do it. And I put it in and they're like, yeah, Matt, you can go. So I'm like, I'm going to Google. Anyway, I went there and I got a tour of the place and I talked to the executives I've been working with on this W3C committee. And anyway, I know a lot about Google and their mission and what they're doing and what they're not doing and their goals. And anyway, I just thought I could share that with the YouTube community because YouTube is owned by Google and kind of dispel some myths, because as a channel owner, it can get kind of tough and it can seem like things are slanted in one direction. But you know what? Sometimes they're not as hard slanted as you think. Now, that's not to say they don't have their problems. That's not to say they won't continue to have their problems. But I'm all about telling the real story and what really matters and what really has an impact. And I'm like, and then plus I have sort of a I enjoy teaching. I enjoy, learning as much as I enjoy teaching. So I'm like, okay, well, just an extension of that. So I started doing all things YouTube. I read the news. I follow the news, the new features that come down, the bugs that were fixed. I help people. I look at their channels and tell them, what I like and what I don't like. I call that the hot seat. It's a fun, and it's really resonating. People are like, yeah, this is a good show every week. So that's Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. I do all things YouTube. It's fun. It's fun and entertaining and informative. Like you really get to know what's up.
Cool. TJ's woodworking shop is leaving us.
Hey, bye, TJ.
Yeah, he joined us a little bit ago, but he's already having to leave. That's pretty cool. And also, Patrick's workshop was out there. I don't know if he's still out there or not, but hey, he had popped in. So he said, "Matt's my hero. I love that guy."
Well, Paul Granger is talking about the slip and slide party at Tony Rouleau's house. Yeah, I've been to two of those. Epic.
Yeah, that's where Sterling broke his wrist.
Yeah.
His whole wrist. He broke his wrist.
He broke his wrist on that slip and slide that weekend. But Tony Rouleau's house.
That slip and slides. No, 250 feet. That sucker is, man.
Yeah.
Get going.
Can you see that big Joker Sterling sliding on that thing?
I got video of it. He almost crashed into his wife. His wife had to jump out of the way. Picture Sterling screaming down that thing. There ain't no stopping anybody coming down there, especially Sterling.
I guess that's a yes there, Russ.
She hightailed it.
I guess it is.
He can't see that.
Yeah. That was a rough weekend for him because he also got into that wreck and messed up his truck that same weekend.
Yeah, that was harsh. I think it was Miter Mike kind of saved the day. Well, a lot of people did. I contributed
Buster
to it.
Stott just joined us. He says, "Hi, Russ," from MO, which I think is Missouri. Good to see you out there, Buster. I was going to ask you, what was the question? What is your fascination? And I've noticed this, which I love them too, because I grew up during that period of time. But what's your fascination with 8-bit video games? What do you think?
Yeah, come on. Well, I mean, I had a paper route very early on, like well before you were 16 and were allowed to work, because I mean, I was lucky. I mean, my parents, had lower middle class, but we didn't want, we had everything we needed, but we didn't have anything extra. So if I wanted anything extra, I had to work for it. So I had some cash finally what would I do? I would ride my bicycle up to the bowling alley and I would play video games, the 8-bit video games and the coin-op video games. And I just love them. I talked about Joust, which I love, but Frogger, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, all the Marios, Donkey Kong. Yeah, I was hitting the Donkey Kong arcade game and Junior Donkey Kong. I love Nintendo. Like here's a little statue I keep in my office of the Nintendo characters. I have Al's Daft Punk helmet here on Luigi. Take him off. Yeah, I love the Nintendo.
Hey, when I was young, the first video game when I was a kid that came out, it was Pong, which was the little on a black and white TV set.
My cousins had Pong, and that's what freaked both my brother and I out. We're like, you mean you can have a controller and then you control what's on the TV? Like I'm doing it here in my hand. I'm like, it was just that reach. Like now it's like, of course you would do that. But back then,
you can do it through your phone, right, Matt?
So we had all of the gaming consoles. We had the Atari 2600. We had the Atari 2600 expansion pack. We had the Intellivision. We had the ColecoVision. We had all of it because my brother and I both had paper routes and had disposable income, and we would go to Best or something like that, or some department store, and we would buy the cartridges. And so we had a huge catalog of the console games back in the day, but also the coin-op video games. I just love the coin-op video games. I love them. The graphics, to force yourself to make something legible with very few pixels is a cool challenge. And anyway, I even wrote my own Atari 800 computer game. It was a map and then you had a dot, and the dot was on the joystick. So I wrote a routine: if joystick's left, draw the dot to the left, and then erase the dot behind it. If the dot hits a wall, back it up and ignore the instruction. So I wrote this in BASIC, and that's when I learned X equals X plus 1 and blah, 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 blah.
Did you save it on the tape? Or did you have to retype it each time that you wanted to play this?
Well, once it was done, the same map came up, because I had to have a grid paper, and I had to plot the XY coordinates of every wall. And I plucked it. I had mountains of code, just XY coordinates to do the walls. And that was one routine. And like I said, the dot was the other. But that was, and my older brother, he programs Atari 2600 games. That's right. People are still developing games for the Atari 2600, and he's one of them. And go figure.
I remember when Tron, the first Tron came out, and those games came out into the arcades for Tron. Oh man, those were cool as crap.
That was a different technology. That was the line technology. Like, Asteroids was that way too. It was like the Vectrex. I don't know what the exact technology is, but it wasn't pixels on a cathode ray tube monitor. It was like some sort of laser. Anyway, yeah, Tron was cool. I love those recognizers. Those things came around, went.
Dan from Dan Inge Woodworking says he got the razor knives that I'd sent him from when the game we played here last week or week before last. No, week before last. I don't remember, but anyway, he got those. And then Jeff Robinson said, what was the first YouTube channel you started to watch, Matt?
Well,
Simply Wood Creations.
Yeah, say Simply Wood Creations. Actually, that didn't come out until way later. So there was a lot of people that had channel before I ever did.
I don't know if I can remember when, but I know that Sterling's palette challenge was when I made my first video. Oddly enough, it's not on Awesome with Things. It's on a different channel, but I entered his contest. So it was Sterling's Woodcrafts was definitely one of them. And, you know, I guess it was, I do remember when Jimmy DeResta made the coffin. And the link that got me on YouTube was something like, this guy knows how to work in a small shop. And I'm like, oh, I have a small shop. And he starts making this freaking coffin with metal hand. I was like, this is amazing. So I did catch him early on. Not surprisingly, he's awesome in many ways. So who knows? Who knows?
I got a question for you, because you and I are kind of like in some of the ways. Like I love sci-fi and everything. So what's your favorite sci-fi movie?
Oh, The Fifth Element, no doubt about it. But I do love the Alien franchise. That is amazing.
I'm an old school guy. I like
not all of them. Only the ones with who was what's his name?
Do you remember Space 1999, Matt?
Oh, I do.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott is a genius. He's very old. I hope he still keeps making movies, but he makes a movie like you could. This is going to sound corny. Like you can almost smell the environment. Like it's that attention to detail and plausible. It's plausible. Anyway, love it. Love it.
I don't think he heard your question now.
I don't think. Have you ever seen Space 1999?
No.
Oh,
2001 Space Odyssey.
Peter Landau, I think.
Oh,
that was his name. But anyway, check it out, Matt. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, Space. It was cool. I watched the whole series. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the whole series is on YouTube.
Oh.
It's Martin Landau and Barbara Bain.
There you go.
Was that around the classic Battlestar Galactica era?
I think before.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the reboot of Battlestar Galactica is amazing. The one that came out. Oh man,
that was fantastic.
Except for like there was one season where they had A and B, the B part was a little slower because the producers wanted to stretch it out and make more money, so they kind of dialed it in or phoned it
See,
in.
now, I was a kid growing up. I used to, we were still watching black and white stuff. So one of my first movies that scared, or I really liked, and I'll always remember, is The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original one.
Yeah,
black
that was
and white.
a good one. That was good. You know what the best sci-fi anything is? And this is, you're not gonna get this one. Only in book form. This will not translate to any other medium, but the most brilliant sci-fi book product out there, Dune. Dune is amazing and is on a whole other level.
It is. The books are great.
Yeah. Well, people argue that only some are in the camp where only the first book is good and the rest of them kind of trailed off. But talk about creating a world where
world building.
Well, there's a functioning government, there's a functioning society, there's one form of commerce, which is the spice, and these old orders of religious orders that influence. I mean, it's the plot itself was sort of simple. You know, the protagonist goes through a struggle, solves a struggle, wins the day. I mean, but everything that was around it was just so rich and well thought out. And it wasn't like, and humans were the only thing out there. Like there were no other alien species. It was just, it's brilliant. I don't think it'll ever be matched. Dude, it's something else. It really is.
That's one thing I can agree with him on, even if I don't take the next generation over the original. Because I'm the original all the way, buddy.
Well, I like both. I mean,
Star Trek has a lot of good qualities. I mean, they have a universe that makes sense. It all fits together. It's not hokey. It's not like, oh, we're space wizards with laser swords. You know, it's plausible. You know what I mean?
I wonder what that could be.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good to say about Star Trek. What
I like most about the next had better technology. I think they're all their transporters, all that was better. Their technical stuff was better.
But I mean,
the camaraderie.
You gotta throw it to the reboot of Battlestar Galactica though, because
I like that too.
You know, they swore off technology, you know, to the point where everything was well, they had computers, but nothing was networked, no artificial intelligence, and you just see the way if you pick this up, you watch a couple of those shows, and when they're on the outside shots looking at other vessels, the camera's blurry and then zooms in and then focuses. Like every other sci-fi thing, it's all computer generated, so it's in perfect focus.
Yeah, I think it's a technique that he actually used. I can't remember what that technique is called.
Brilliant. And another fun movie, a brilliant movie, not sci-fi, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Did you ever watch that movie? This is the editing, and just watch it for the editing. Oh my God, what a ride that movie is. Amazing.
Yeah, I grew up watching Captain Kirk, and he will always be my. Did you know now, from what I read, he almost became homeless after Star Trek.
Yeah, he actually was.
Yeah, because it didn't take off, and they didn't make any money off of it, or big money, like you would say. They made a living, so to speak, but as soon as the series was canceled and they quit making shows, he was out of a job, so to speak.
Thank God for Priceline and whatever else.
Yeah, and then I do think though that whenever they came back with the next or when they came out with the Next Generation, that was a very, very good next step into the Star Trek series, because they did a real good job, so to speak, of keeping things kind of like, you know, I mean, they couldn't copy so to speak, the original, but yet they could keep things in focus along of the original, how the original was done. So therefore, it fit very well. So because I really liked it.
It was the continuation of the franchise that they just put together too.
Yeah.
Forget the pun here, to meld it together.
There was a next generation.
You have to remember too, back then, that and the Twilight Zone, back when them were made, that was just genius thinking.
Richard Sterling, who's the
Rod
Sterling.
He
That
would
was genius for back in them days.
He would dictate everything into a tape recorder, and he would just fire off these episodes, 20 a night, and then interns would type it all up. He was a genius. But there was an episode of The Next Generation, just a single episode of the show that was so good it could have been a movie. I was blown away. It was the one where they were running around the universe trying to get different species to put the genetic code together to solve like the origin of everyone.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And the Klingons were blowing up a whole thing. Like they stole a plant from the planet and blew up the whole planet just so no one else could get any genetic material. I'm like, what jerks? it was a good,
Yeah, Jeff Robinson said Lost in Space. I have got every episode of Lost in Space.
Yeah, Smith family.
As a matter of fact, I've showed it off several times before. It's sitting right over there on my workbench.
I have a Robbie the Robot Christmas ornament, danger, danger.
But yeah, I loved Lost in Space. That came also out during that period of time. But Lost in Space took off and did very well for itself.
I mean, some entertainment products are good entertainment products, and then some sci-fi entertainment products are brilliant works of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Lost in Space was a fun thing that made money, but as far as a brilliant piece of, it was.
I think sometimes these sci-fi movies and whatever turns out to be like a regular running thing, it's mostly the product of some brilliant author's imagination, and it's not a conglomeration of people that are thrown in a room and say, here, you have to come up with a Star Trek episode, or you have to come up with this, and we've got to have one every week, and it just,
I tried.
You get a guy that just gets, like a Ray Bradbury or somebody, they let their imagination go wild, and we all benefit from it in the long run.
I tried to write my own sci-fi novel. I have an idea, and I hired someone on a freelance board to take my concept and write out the first chapter, and I paid this person, and they did, but I think that's a tough medium. Like I've done, art. Now I'm doing video. I'm like, oh, why don't I try writing? But that's a challenge for me. I'll ever take.
You go back and watch. Because I do watch it. I pull out the episodes. I pull out all the DVDs every once in a while and start playing. I'm out here in the shop and look at some of the aliens that they used in Lost in Space. I mean, you'll laugh your butt. You're sitting there looking at it. And when I was a kid growing up, it was like pretty cool stuff. But now I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that is so.
It looks so cheesy.
Yeah.
But it was awesome back then.
It was.
I like if you look at the Lost in Space and then Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and then Time Machine, is it? Or Time Tunnel? You'll see a lot of the same props and background computers, and it was Irwin Allen. He just kept reusing everything.
Oh yeah. Irwin Allen
saves money.
They turned the gun backwards and put a new front on it and make it a whole new gun.
Yep.
Anybody
out there? We're getting ready to wind down. So anybody out there have any questions for Matt before we get off?
Hey, you got to answer this one before you go. Are you really a lion attack survivor?
Yes.
Wow.
How big was the lion?
Was it a cub?
She was a baby cub.
Was it stuffed with like stuff over her hands?
Yeah, I'll show you this vicious beast. Give me 1 sec.
The attack is on, folks.
Keeps it in the closet.
All right, are you ready for this? Look at that vicious thing.
Oh my God.
Technically she bit me, so, and that was an attack. So legally speaking, I am a lion attack survivor. That was in Mexico. Yeah, got bit by a lion in Mexico. Isn't that fun?
You're not lying, are you?
Oh, rim shot.
Oh, the puns are deep.
He really didn't get attacked by a lion. He was just lying around.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Anybody in the chat want to throw a lion pun out there? Just type it right in and we'll bring them up.
Are you doing another Christmas video like last year's Night Before Christmas, Dave Hart? I would love to. I don't think I'm going to do it this year. I had a bunch of makers say one part of the poem The Night Before Christmas, and I spliced them all together. How about someone else run with that one this year? I am doing Javi's Almost Impossible 30-day challenge, and I think that's.
Well, if you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll submit a clip for it.
Yeah, I'll do the because I thought that was pretty awesome. The last 2 years in a row I've done it, and I thought.
Why don't I set it up for your audience, and then we'll.
Is Shelly going to do the sawdust stuff again?
I don't think so. I think that really hurt.
Like wipe her out for a month after she did that.
That almost killed her.
Yeah, poor girl.
I don't think she wants to do that again.
Yeah, go online and download "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and I think there's like 8 different paragraphs. Read a paragraph or two on video and send it to Russ. He'll splice it together.
Yeah.
Maker "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Does it have to be serious, or is it a?
Oh,
no, you can.
You can look at my old one and kind of. Some people did it a little crazy, you know, like Tim Sway was like screaming over his X-Carve because it was rolling in the background, and
Pat Lapp did it in French.
yeah.
Oh.
Bale's dressed up like an elf on the shelf.
Yes,
read it like Elf on the Shelf. But then other people just I don't know. It's whatever you're into. But that was fun. Yeah, if you wanna manage that process, Russ, that'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I always enjoyed this first time that I found out about it when you did it. I was like, yeah, I think
it was not my idea. Other people have done it in the past. I'm just like,
yeah.
Okay, let's take it to the next level.
Right.
Because I mean, I'm good with event planning. I found that's kind of why I do the baseball and the taco stuff, and even
if we're going to do it right now, we need to get it started. That's for sure, because of the fact that to get it enough people to do it, to send them in, to have it out before, in time for people to enjoy it before Christmas.
I will say, if you're thinking about doing that, do more than one paragraph block. It helps the editor who's editing it, because people say, well, tell me what line you want me to read. And I would say, okay, read this block. But if you do like 3 blocks, then it gives the person editing it more freedom to, anyway.
Yeah, it's actually not that long. Just read the whole thing and let the editor figure out what they want to use.
Yeah, a few people did that. They read the whole poem, and that was really easy on me because I could fit it in where they want.
Yeah, that might be the best thing to do, is just ask people to read the whole poem, and then you take out of it what you want and glue it into the other stuff. Because if they read the whole poem, they can get into a character situation a little bit better than just one line.
And Mom and her kerchief.
Does Matt have any new tools on his wish list? Steve Carmichael just asked. I would like to replace my CNC machine with a Gatton CNC machine. So I'm trying to figure out how I can sell my current one, move some finances around, and buy one with the spinning rods instead of the rubber bands. The
Rubber bands.
That's what basically they are.
I know my Shapeoko's got rubber bands all over it.
I'd like to replace my table saw at some point, because it doesn't have a writhing knife that I like. It has an overhead writhing knife. Anyway, we'll see if that ever happens or not. Who knows? I'm a big fan of just having one of each tool, not having the absolute best of a few tools. I'd rather have every tool to shape a piece of wood than have 3 premium tools and have absent tools. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my setup.
Hey, Matt, Dennis Goodson asks, Russ, what happened to the pine cone plaque behind you? Oh wait, I thought it was to Matt. Never mind.
I don't have any pine
What
cone.
what happened
The
to
pine cone on the plaque behind.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing wrong. It's still there. I just had a speaker in front of it. It's still there.
There
Good
you go.
catch, though,
There you go, Dennis.
Pressed.
Yeah, it's still there. I just had something sitting in front of it. It's still on there. I didn't do anything with it. It's still there. I just had my Bluetooth speaker sitting over there, so it was kind of covering it up.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. I see nothing.
So Matt, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How many captains are there in the Star Trek universe? Well, not how many captains, but how many main captains are there?
7.
Ooh. Can you name them all?
Yes.
Which is the first one? Which is the first one?
Kirk.
How about Pike?
Oh,
No, but actually there was one before him, Captain Pike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my.
There's
I can't
Pike,
go through all 7.
Pike, then Kirk.
It was Pike
Janeway
Inker, Pike
and-
the pilot.
Then
Yep,
Picard, right?
yep.
Picard.
Then Janeway, right?
No. There was remember the one episode where the chick came through the thing with the other Enterprise? And they had to like shoot her back into that
Yeah.
war so that we wouldn't go to war. Or we.
We.
So that there wouldn't be a big, war. Because if they want to defend the Klingons, the Klingons would see.
And if we're going to get technical, in a double episode, Picard had been relieved of command and was taken by Captain Jellicoe.
Yes.
My God, why do I know that?
Are you including Deep Space Nine?
Data
Yes.
was in command for a
Yes.
while, wasn't he?
Cisco.
Yep. And Janeway. There's a lot of captains.
All right, so guys, we're about ready to call it a night. I appreciate y'all being out there in the chat very much.
I hope I was entertaining and you learned a little bit about what inspires me. It was
Yep.
fun.
Dave Hart's out there, and he said the pine cone case of the missing pine cone solved is what Rusty Nail said, but pine cone is still on there. Dennis Goodson, Jimbo, Steve Carmichael, Jeff Robinson, Rusty Nails. All y'all have been out there in the chat and just chatting away. I appreciate you, Dan Inge from Dan Inge Woodworking, Robert Crow, Michelle Marcoux, TJ's Woodworking Shop dropped by. So all these Shelley Cole, all these people have been out there in the chat providing with us with some questions and chatting away. I appreciate you so very much. And thank you very much, Matt, for being on tonight and being so entertaining. We have learned a lot of good information from you.
One more thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but does he do a shop confession?
Yeah, we can do a shop.
Yeah.
Oh, I had table saw kickback. It was on one of the Maker's Rock, and I was recovering from a minor injury where I was in a little bit of pain when I extended my arm the whole way. It wasn't real bad, but I didn't push the workpiece completely past the blade, and I had turned the table saw off, so the blade was still spinning, but there was no power behind it, and then it jiggled, and it jiggled into the blade, and boom, it came back at me spinning like a frisbee and whacked me in the hip.
Wow.
Ouch.
That's it. Other than that, I am very, very careful in my shop. I wear full gear on just about every tool, not the scroll saw, but every I am full hearing, breathing the whole time. And then I usually have a face mask over just about every tool because I'm not playing. I need these.
We'll bless
Hey,
you and
Al.
keep you safe from any more injuries in the.
I'm a big supporter, though, of people finding their own safety zone. So you don't have to mimic me by any.
Hey, Al, would you explain to him about using the scroll saw?
Using the scroll saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about not getting your fingers too close.
It goes up and down like this.
Yeah.
The only way to hurt yourself is if you shove your finger into the blade. That's the only scenario. And even if the blade breaks, it's going to stick together. It's not, the blade's not going to fly out. Like I've seen like
Fly out to cut you.
like a bandsaws. Those blades will shoot right out of the bandsaw and they'll take teeth with them, you know, in the nightmares. But scroll saw, come on.
No, it's what I've caught. I've taught my granddaughter. I think she was 6 years old when I first 6 or 8 when I first started teaching her, and then Gage, I started teaching him by the time he was like 8 years old, and yeah, it's one of the most, if you ask me, safest woodworking tools in the shop. And the thing about it is, it's safe, but it can make such beautiful, beautiful stuff. I mean,
with the opposite.
Al, can it cut you without it even being turned on?
Well, where I've cut myself was changing the blade. Not changing the blade. Oh.
Some
You know you're
tools
supposed to
don't.
turn it off before you change the blade.
No, whip it off.
Some tools are the opposite. They don't look like they'll hurt you, but they're the worst.
Oh yeah.
Like,
when I first used to get the ultra reverse blades, or before the ultra reverse blades, the ultra reverse blades have a kink in the top of the blade, the Flying Dutchman, so that you can tell what's top and what's bottom. But anyway, you'd take I would take the blade and run it across my finger just to be able to try to tell which, without looking, I could just feel which way the teeth were running. And I've caught my finger a few times doing that, not laid it open, but I bled before, by doing that stuff. So I know what you're talking about. All right, well, we're going to get out of here. Thank you again, Matt. I appreciate it very much. We had a great time. A lot of good questions and a lot of stuff.
Russ, before you pull the plug, just want to give a shout out to all our veterans out there. Veterans Day weekend.
That's a good idea. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and big shout out. My son's a veteran.
Yep.
Corey, and all the veterans that are out there. Thank you very much for your service and for everything you've done. You were the reason that we have freedom here in the United States, free to vote for whatever person we want in the office, and all the other freedoms we have, the freedom to own guns and everything else. So we appreciate you very much, and a happy Veterans Day. Happy day to all of y'all. And thank you for reminding me of that, Chris. I almost forgot that. And I actually thought about that earlier and had it written down. But anyway, thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dixon, Jim, Al, Paul, Russ Meadows, and wasn't somebody was on here that dropped out, or was that just a figment of my imagination?
Figment. We're all present.
Yeah, I think we're all present. Okay. I know what it was. It was Russ hit his camera because he was feeding his face a couple of times.
You got that right. I'm not like Jim. I can't look at it in front of me and not eat it.
So that's what made me think somebody had dropped out. But anyway, and again, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for
All right, we only got one more thing left to do, and you know what that is? Just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night, campers.
And God bless.
Remember,
Everyone have a
remember
great
you don't have to
Bye,
go
y'all.
home, but you cannot stay here. Get out of here.
Good
Move
night.
along. Finish your drinks. Let's go. Move along. Move along.
Good night.